What's up? How's everybody doing? I'm great. I'm doing real good. It's nice and cool out there. Sunny. Yeah, it's great.
Fall weather. Fall weather.
Yeah, they said fall was coming. They weren't lying. It's good.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. When you look back at that game, the run game, what do you think? You had some issues at times.
I just think we were inconsistent, and that's been when we've struggled. That's been kind of the main thing. And I know that, like, just saying the word inconsistent, I think can sound kind of gray or whatever. But like, there are other issues. Like, there's times where like. If you're struggling, it's just because you're getting, your butt kicked, or if you're struggling, it's because you're not in the right call or whatever. Like when we're struggling, it's because we're just not getting high-level execution from everybody on every play, and so that's seems like it's been a little bit of an issue for us, especially in an environment away from home. So that's something that we've got to grow up and mature a little bit as an entire group, and it's something that we're working on addressing too.
How much have you missed Cooper Beebe?
Brock's done a really, really good job. But, obviously, like I said a couple of weeks ago, generally what you start the season with is what you think your best lineup is going to be. And so when you have the ability to get back to that, you'd like to think that there's going to be obviously, some extra addition.
Clayton Todd Archer with ESPN. Does it mean anything to go against former team, former coaches,
Yeah, I think it's fun for sure. But once you're around the league long enough, not that I've been in the NFL for 25 years or anything like that, but once you've been around long enough, you know enough guys on every team that it feels a little bit that way. I think the thing that is going to be a little bit unique for me, and I've never really been in this situation before, is just like everybody, the players, the coaches. And so, a lot of guys that I spent a lot of time with the last 2 years and quite honestly had a lot of good times with. And so, there's some guys that I'm for sure looking forward to seeing.
How can you help the defense this week in containing Kyler, what he likes, which way he might like to roll, either way, things like that?
I think that you for sure, when people ask for advice, you give it. And anytime you have the ability to help your team, you do. But I'd also add that, once a guy's been in the NFL once a player's been around long enough, there's kind of the book is written, by each defense, for example, with quarterbacks is, this guy doesn't like this, or he struggles with this, or he has a hard time overcoming X, Y, Z. So, to be honest with you, there's probably not as much of that as you would think, just because guys are going to go in with their plan. So, it's not the type of thing where when we're playing the Jets, we're spending 25 hours with Aaron Whitecotton, asking every little detail. We've got to figure out what we do well, and we know that the best. And the same thing, goes for our defenses. Of course, I'll help them with anything that I can help them with. But at the end of the day, they're going to plan it the way that they feel like it fits their defense.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. When you had this opportunity to come in for the interview here, did you ever anticipate that you would be leaving Arizona that quick? Not necessarily that quick, but having an offensive coordinator opportunity this quick.
That's a good question. It was always something that I wanted to do, but what's the old quote is, you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. It was not something that I was going like, yep, year 2, here we go. I'm gonna land that job. I wasn't thinking about it a ton. I usually wait until the season's over to kind of evaluate those type of things. But it took me by surprise a little bit. I was kind of full bore on, we'll go into year 3 and we think we're going to get better and all that. And the opportunity just happened. So, like I said, I guess in summation it's something that I definitely wanted to do. I'm not sure that the way that my outlook is that I was saying that I think it was going to happen.
What do you think y'all succeeded at in Arizona that allowed you to have that opportunity?
I think that, it felt like the 2 years that I was there, I had a very positive feeling like things were moving upward. And I think that they probably still feel that way. But the building blocks of something that was a little bit of a reset when we got there, and everybody in the building kind of pulling the same direction. Those are the type of things that maybe they sound kind of nostalgic or whatever, but like those are the things that I really like about this job, is everybody pulling the rope the same direction and kind of being all in it together.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You alluded to it a little bit, but Denver was really loud. Obviously a tough place to play. From a communication standpoint, how much more difficult does that make it on the road when things are that loud, especially when people are moving fronts and kind of changing the look pre-snap?
Yeah, it can make it tough, for sure. I think that, you know, there's just too many times that we're making it hard on ourselves. And I've said this to the players, and I really think it's true, is that, you know, your offense is a central nervous system. It operates a lot differently than defense and special teams does. And having the ability to communicate when it's really loud is only really difficult when you have to communicate every single thing. And so if everybody knows what they're supposed to do at a really high level, communication isn't at as much of a premium because everybody knows what to do. So that's the areas that we need to grow as an offense is, yeah, we want to communicate everything on every single play, but the really good groups that I've been around, or maybe when I was playing in college, is, you know, like I always tell Dak, like, you feel really good on Fridays when Shotty starts giving him the play and he's like, he knows the rest of it. He's got it memorized. I think the same thing really for the rest of the offense is when he's delivering the play in the huddle, those guys should be visualizing and going, yep, I know what this is based on the personnel grouping, and I know exactly what's going to come out of his mouth next, and I have the adjustment already preloaded in my mind. We're just not there yet. And so we gotta coach better, and we gotta perform better in those environments, because, you know, I think guys get nervous or they're not 100% sure what's coming next, and we just got to play. We're not doing that right now.
So basic, maybe follow up to that. That includes pre-snap adjustments too. Like, hey, if they're doing this, we got to know that we're going to respond this way, and we have to be on the same page.
Yeah, it's usually built into the play call, and so if I know that we've got, you know, whatever play call X, and if we get a certain look, it's going to play call Y. You've already seen the look. You're anticipating him giving us the adjustment, and so, you know, everybody being able to communicate after that is really difficult if you're having to tell every single person. But if you're just able to say one word and everybody knows what's going on, you know, those are the type of things that, playing with accelerated vision, you know, those are the areas we got to get better at.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. You're talking about going into the year 10 or 11 weeks from the beginning, how you'd look back on Tyler Booker and say, wow, look at how much he's grown. How much has he grown so far this year in your eyes?
Yeah, I think that he certainly has. I mean, I've seen definite improvement with the way that he plays, the pace with his feet, what he's doing with his hands right now in pass protection, I think is pretty special. I think that one of the things that, you know, like looking back at week one, when I said that, you know, that in the back of my mind, you know, you're going, how much is going to happen in between now and then? And, you know, I think he missed, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. And so that's another piece of the puzzle, and a piece of the story is, all right, well, that happened. Now you got to get them back playing at the level that they were before they got injured, and then you can continue to take steps and grow. So that's kind of where we're at right now is, all right, now we got a kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back thing. Now we got to get back to baseline. Once we're back at baseline, now we can start putting some more tools in your belt.
Coach Ali Jawadi, Dallas Cowboys, Javonte Williams yesterday mentioned you got to be ready for number 3. You know Buda Baker very well, one of the best in this league for a long time. Just, you know, now going up against him, what are the challenges that you got to be ready for?
Yeah, he's just they always say that the hardest. I've heard I remember Phillip Rivers saying that the hardest DBs to throw out are the ones that don't play by the rules. That's a little bit of Buda's game is you know, he might be standing on the line of scrimmage and playing the middle third. So he's unpredictable. He's an exciting player to watch if you're a fan. It's not as much fun when I'm sitting and watching it with the remote, but he's explosive. He plays the game the right way. He's got a ton of juice out there. I mean, he's a fun player to watch, like I said, but unpredictable and explosive are probably the 2 best terms that I would use for him.
Christy.
Christy Scales, 105.3 The Fan. When you were on staff in Arizona and Gannon brings in Rawls as the youngest coordinator in the league and this wonder kid, how did you see him, if he did, gain the respect of some of the older players? And what traits does he have that are reflected?
Yeah, he's got a real presence to him. He obviously he's I think maybe 32, 33, something like that. So he is pretty young. I didn't think he was that age when I met him. I think I met him when he was 30. I would have guessed he was older than that. Not because of physical appearance, just because of the presence that he operates with. He's very mature. He's really, really intelligent, and I think that between his knowledge of what he wants to do and the vision of what he wants to do and the depth in which he thinks about it, that plus the confidence and the presence that he has, the players, are usually pretty all in once he's able to show them, hey, this is how I'm going to put you in position to make plays. And that's, to me, that's the biggest key in this league when you're sitting in our seats is just being able to present that vision and deliver on that vision of this is how I'm going to help you play the best football of your career. Nick is good at doing that.
Sydney?
Coach, Sydney Staples, D210 Sports. How different is this Cardinals team since you were with them?
It's really hard to know. We haven't had a lot of common opponents, so I really haven't watched them on offense at all. And then the defense. To be honest with you, when I was on staff there, I wasn't watching a lot of our defense. Maybe I'm just kind of a solo vision guy that gets locked in on stuff, but that wasn't really my main focus. We'd go against them in training camp and in the off season, and so there were some things that I was familiar with, but I probably couldn't tell you how much has changed in regards to what they're doing as a group. There's obviously still people that I talk to and a lot of people that I'm going to be very excited to see, but yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Is there somebody in particular you're the most excited to see on the other side?
I'm very excited to see Jonathan Gannon. Yeah, he and I were assistant coaches together in Indy and go way back, and I was very happy to go try to help him win a championship at his first head coaching opportunity. He's a good friend.
Trey McBride, obviously incredible season last year. What did you see from his development, and how much of a challenge is Trey McBride to defend?
Yeah, I mean he's a dangerous guy when the ball's in his hands. He does a great job of running with the football after the catch, explosive, fast.
And we'll finish up with Todd.
Shawty said he's been in the defensive meeting rooms more. How has that impacted your role and what you're doing with the offensive meetings?
I think it's probably been a positive thing for everybody. Whatever little extra responsibilities that I pick up when he's not in the room, that's helping me grow. Whatever knowledge he's gaining by going into the defensive room, just both learning our defense better and also just learning defense better in general, I'm sure is probably a positive for him. I would say just a net positive in general of, you get to, when the leadership in the room changes a little bit, everybody has to assume a little bit new role, and I always think your perspective changes a little bit there too as you're kind of learning and growing.
Does that convey a little bit of trust, obviously, that he has, that he can say, okay, I know we're good here, that I can go over that and do that?
Yeah, sure. I think that there's definitely some of that. I would assume, right? I mean, I can't speak for him, but I think that in general, it's just that he trusts the room. And the leadership, our player leadership, our assistant coaches, he's done a good job of setting that up the way that he wants it. And I always think that that's a sign of a good leader is when you're able to step out of the room and you're still getting achieved what you want.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Yep. Y'all take care.